Alright guys, how's it going? Time to get yourself a cuppa. I've currently got a cup of coffee with the classic "No dear, yes dear" on it. Hilarious, right? Oh, so edgy. But yeah, we've got another week of Pro League. The last one before Anaheim. Very excited for Anaheim, of course, when we do get there. But we do have one more week to go, and we're going to do the typical thing that I always do, which is write everything down first because I'm forgetful. And two, we are going to go through each and every day, and we're going to go through a game per day, which we think is going to be the standout. I said so many times how sat here and went through how many is it? Like 12, 14 games of the week, and it's turned into a 35-minute video, and nobody wants to listen to me for more than 10. So we will try and stick with this with shorter videos and going in depth in a few more of the games more than we would. So we are going to do the same as we did last week. We're going to go through each game. Each put one game per day and talk through them, give a prediction on it, which way we think the series is going to go with map count, etc. So let's have a run through. On Monday, we're going to see Elevate against Heretics and 100 Thieves against E United, and it takes nobody with more than 2 brain cells to figure out we're going to be talking about 100 T versus E United. So it's a really good way to kick things off. You know, both these two teams looking good in this division so far, both flawless last week. Map counts for 100T last week. We're not going to talk about London so much. We're going to concentrate on current form. Overall, they went 9-2 in maps. They went 5-0 on hardpoint. S&D, they went 2-1 and 2-1 in control as well. As far as the map count for United goes, they went 9-4 overall, 4-2 in hardpoint, 3-1 in S&D, and 2-1 in control. So that's a fairly decent effort so far from both two teams in terms of the stats. Now, last time around that these two teams did meet was in London and was in the grand finals, of course. And 100T came up on top in a 3-1 fashion with dropping the S&D after some great play by Simp and Clayster. Now, I really do see it going the exact same direction. I just think, you look at 100T at the moment in hardpoint, they are ridiculously unstoppable, to be honest with you. 5-0, and the majority of them were fairly comfortable as well. I will say the S&D hasn't looked amazing. There was times where we've seen them go up against Denial last week. They were close to losing the S&D, albeit just maybe down to Denial, maybe not playing the best that they could. Which would have put it in their favour, of course. And they lost control of Denial as well, which was unexpected. So, 100T aren't necessarily flawless here, but I just think that you look at their hardpoint, you absolutely expect them to win both hardpoints. The 4-2 record for United against the 5-0 for 100T, you'd put your house on it, really, wouldn't you? But I think you look at the rest of the game modes, yes, okay, you could expect the United to win both the Search and Destroys, but I just don't think we'll get to that 5th one. When we're talking about control, 100T had a relatively comfortable week apart from losing Arsenal to Denial. United played 3 different maps on control actually last week and only lost on Gridlock, which seems to be 100T's best map. The only way I see United winning it is if they get rid of Gridlock, basically, at that point. Get rid of Gridlock and maybe try and chance it on like Seaside, something like that we haven't seen 100T play last week, whereas we did see United play that one and they won that game. I think they've got a chance to take it to 5th map, and if they do take it to 5th map, I actually fancy United. But in this case, I am going to give it over to 100T with a 3-1 victory. Based off, their hardpoint's just far too good, and I think they will step up their control game as well. Going up against the United, they know they're going to go up against the other best team in the division, so I think they will step up. I think they will take that one 3-1. Now let's have a run through the games that are going on Tuesday. It is going to be Denial against Heretics, Elevate against E United, Enigma 6 against 100 Thieves, and NVV Splyce. Now I'm going to go into 2 teams game here. NVV Splyce, who really didn't have a good week last week. It was poor from both of them, and I think that realistically the fans are going to be wanting to see a lot more from them both. Now, there is rumours of Splyce obviously making a change. It's looking like their sub Nolson's going to come in. I'm going to do a separate video on Nolson and what I think he can bring to the team and whether I think this is the right decision for Splyce moving forward. That'll be out either tomorrow or probably tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, so sometime during the week. I'll try and get it out tomorrow. But realistically, coming in with this brand new team, well, it's not a brand new team, but you got somebody else in this team, it sort of makes me question whether Splyce will be up to scratch straight away. But let's delve into this one because I've got maybe a one that you wouldn't expect. As far as this game goes, it is going to take some time for Splyce to adapt, but when we're talking about S&D, Envy went 0-5 last week. Now, I think that's really something you have to look at. It's not like it's just a little bit of a bad record, like 2-3 or 2-4. 0-5. They didn't win a single S&D last week, and that's alarm bells for me if you're Envy. Absolutely, especially when you go up against a team like Splyce. Their S&D was 2-3 last week, so not the best, but I mean, their only game mode that was actually good was Control, where they went 3-1. But that's another reason I'm actually going to lean towards Splyce. I think, the hard points I could fully see going over towards Envy. You think about the matchups. You would expect Envy to probably win those hard points, albeit they will be close. Just for clarification, Envy were 4-3 on hard point last week, Splyce were 2-5. But when it comes down to Control, Splyce were 3-1 on Control last week with Envy 2-2. So basically on stats, I am going to sort of give this one to Splyce. I know the change is going to come in for Nolson, but I think he's a decent player, and I think he will slot into the role quite nicely. He's not going to be going into Lamar's role. Accuracy is the rumoured one to be dropped. It looks as if Aqua is going to go into that ICR role, and then we're going to see Nolson play as a Maddox, and he's a very good player. So I think that they will take it 3-2. I just think that Envy, you can't be losing S&Ds that badly. Is it? I mean, look, I haven't exactly got their stats up for every single one. Let's have a look at their S&Ds. Just a quick run through. Lost 6-4 Arsenal, 6-2 Hacienda to Denial, lost 6-2 Gridlock to Heretics. Then who else did they play? They played 100T, lost 6-5 on Frequency. Okay, that's the closest one we've seen so far. The other one, though, lost 6-5 to E United. Look, I mean, yes, they're close games against the better teams, but then when it's coming down to the games that they should be winning, they're nowhere close. So I'm going to give it to Splyce 3-2. It's up in the air, though. I think they will be able to steal away the Control, possibly one of their own hard point, of course. 2-5 record for them is not great, though. Put it this way, there's a lot wrong with both these two teams, and it really could go a couple of different directions. But I am going to go with Splyce, just based off Envy's very, very poor S&D currently. And I think it's definitely going to be prevalent in this series. So we are going to go with Splyce, and we are going to go with a 3-2 victory for them. The next game I'm picking is Denial against E United. Let's actually go through the rest of the games that are going to be on that day. It is going to be Elevate against 100 Thieves, which I think will be a pretty good game. Heretics against Splyce, which could also be pretty decent. A Team Envy against Enigma 6. Wednesday's a pretty close day, actually. I think all these results are fairly difficult to predict in terms of map scores, etc. I think a lot of people will be sort of siding with me on this one and thinking that E United will take this series. But I think it'll maybe be closer than some people maybe expect. Now, the reason for that is because I think Denial seemed to get a little bit better as the week went on. They came straight out of the gates and beat Envy 3-2, which was a big result to see from them. But I think realistically, look, everyone expects United to win this one, but the Search and Destroy is really what it comes down to for me. I think Denial's Search and Destroy looks fairly decent at times. They did make some mistakes last week. They could have been 3-0 in S&D, to be honest with you, and I think that would have made things 3-0. They could have been 5-0. A couple of their S&Ds really did slip out of their hands, so to speak. I think they're very good at this game mode, but they are potentially going up against the other best S&D team in this division, which is United, of course, at 3-1 currently from their stats point. But look, as I said, I expect United to win this one. If Denial can force a map number 5 by stealing their hard point or stealing the Control, then potentially they could do something. Denial's Control stats are 1-3, but they did beat 100 Thieves on Arsenal last week, which is maybe something you could look towards. But when you talk about the hard points as well, they're quite similar in terms of what maps they pick. It seems that the Frequency seems to be both teams' favourite map, just based off of picks we've seen last week. Either of these teams could really be trying to just force themselves to play that as much as they can. But when it comes down to Frequency and that hard point, I just think that the SMGs of United are a bit stronger than the Denial ones at this current time. As said, I think I could see Denial stealing away an S&D, potentially stealing a hard point, but I think United will prove themselves to be stronger. As said, the SMGs, I would definitely lean towards United. When we're talking about Maddoxes, though, I think it's a fairly close game. I think the Maddoxes, specifically Brack of Denial, has been playing well, but then you look at the side of United, and obviously they have very strong players there as well. But when it comes down to ARs, I would give it Arcides overrated. Arcides one of the best ARs in the game. I think that this will be relatively comfortable, but I think that there is potential for an upset here if Denial can maybe steal away a hard point. I expect them to maybe win an S&D in here as well. If we force it on map 5, then it suddenly becomes very interesting. Now, the last day was quite a hard one to pick. In the end, I have went with 100 Thieves and Splyce. When we're talking the rest of the games, Enigma 6 against Denial would be pretty good, I'd imagine. Elevate against Envy might be pretty decent. United against Heretics, I think United will probably smoke Heretics. Heretics really not look great at all. But 100 Thieves against Splyce. Look, it's a big game in terms of the number, the names of the team. 100 Thieves wanting to go perfect as per usual, but Splyce in this one will have had a little bit more time. Splyce's schedule this week is Envy, Heretics, and 100 Thieves. So not the easiest, but if they can get some playtime under their belt with Nolson, this well could turn into a good game. I mean, overall, it's hard really to side with Splyce in any of the game modes. I mean, Control you could go with them, of course. 3-1, but realistically we know that 100T are a very strong Control team, and they only narrowly lost out on a perfect record in Control due to a loss to Denial on a 3-2 series on Arsenal, which was quite strange actually. They lost 2 rounds in a row, if I remember rightly, losing the defense to lose the map. So okay, you'd maybe look at Splyce to potentially do something there, but Hardpoint 2-5, S&D 2-1, as opposed to 100 Thieves 5-0 S&D Hardpoint record last week in S&D 2-1. I am going to give this one 200 Thieves 3-0. I think it's just going to be a bit of a statement win for them, to be honest with you. I think Splyce, as said, it will take time for them, and I think come Anaheim, they might be looking all right with Nolson. As I said, I will do a video on them tomorrow, but I think 100 Thieves will close out the week fairly strong. I am going to say 3-0. Just to really assert their dominance. As said, the other games on Thursday are pretty good, and it was hard to choose one, but I think this one just stood out to me because it'll be interesting to see how 100 Thieves, if they can continue this form they are currently on, and depending on what the game happens between themselves and United, it could really set the tone for either one of these teams' weeks. So yeah, okay, let's just have a little run through of what games I thought are going to be very, very good this week and what the results I think will be. 100T against the United, I think this will be a 3-1 victory for 100T. Envy versus Splyce on Tuesday is what I chose, and I thought a 3-2 victory for Splyce is on the cards. Denial against E United, I have went with E United 3-1 on Wednesday, and on Thursday I went with 100T versus Splyce, and I've went with a 3-0 victory for 100 Thieves. If any of you put bets on that sort of thing, you can maybe try and follow what I put down. Don't bet too much on it because it's me at the end of the day. But realistically, I think it's going to be a good week of Pro League and really set the tone for Anaheim next week. Of course, I should be flying out at some point, like on the Wednesday or something. Really looking forward to it. Anaheim's always a wave, and I think I just tweeted out like I'm so excited to be in some sun because realistically, England has not been that sunny recently, and I'm looking pale. I'm looking very, very pale right now. So we need to get over there, get some vitamin D. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really good event. I think the rest of this week will set the tone for Anaheim. Interesting to see how Splyce does. I'm going to do a video on that tomorrow about potential people who could be coming in. Whether Nolson could potentially keep his spot. Doubtful, but we'll see how he does in the week to come. Anyway, guys, please give the video a like. If you could comment as well, let me know what you think is going to happen in the games this week. And subscribe if you could as well. It would mean a lot to me and everyone here at EGL. And we'll be back for tomorrow's video. We will catch you guys then.